The Marines didn't say a word. No formal orders, no ceremony, just quiet boots on steel. Lieutenant Commander Arya Malik stood beside the radar terminal, her uniform crisp, her mind sharp. Until they came. 2 Marines, full gear. Eyes of her shipmates suddenly found the floor fascinating, and without explanation, she was escorted from the USS Sentinel, her career erased in silence. Hours later, adrift in open waters, something rose from beneath the waves that shouldn't exist. A black submarine, no markings, no flag. It came for her. Which city in the world are you watching this video from? If stories of silent sacrifice and forgotten heroes speak to you, hit subscribe and be part of a community that remembers what others choose to forget. Before everything shattered, it was just another morning. Lieutenant Commander Arya Malik stood on the flight deck of the USS Sentinel, sipping burnt black coffee. Eyes locked on the sky as FA-18 Hornets screamed into the dawn. She had earned this moment. 8 years in sonar and underwater systems. Promotions carved from salt and sleeplessness. But something was off. Petty Officer Monroe, usually talkative, barely nodded. Deck crew avoided her eyes, and the intercom buzzed. Lieutenant Commander Malik, report to the captain's quarters, immediately. Arya moved through the steel corridors like she always had. Confident, collected, respected. But this time something was different. People didn't greet her. Doors that used to open stayed shut. Voices dropped when she passed. At the captain's door stood a Marine guard. He didn't salute, just opened it. Inside, Captain Raleigh stiff. 2 men in suits. No insignia, no nameplates. Naval intelligence. Commander Malik, effective immediately. You are relieved of duty. She blinked. On what grounds? Classified. They gave her 20 minutes to gather her things. 20 minutes for 8 years of service. Her quarters were already packed. Photos, ribbons, journals, all tucked into a duffel. No goodbye from her crew. Just a quiet walk to the loading deck, flanked by silence and steel. No salute, no flag, no answers. Only an envelope from the captain. Open this when you're 10 miles out. The transport boat moved fast, cutting across open Pacific waters. No one spoke. After an hour, the small motorboat halted. This is where I leave you, the pilot said. There was nothing around. No ships, no island, just blue in all directions. Orders say you wait here. He climbed into a raft and disappeared. Arya was alone. She opened the envelope. Inside, coordinates, and a time, 1600 hours. The hours dragged. She rationed water. Watched gulls circle and vanish. No answers, no signals, no contact. At exactly 1600 hours, her watch beeped. At first nothing, then a ripple, a vibration beneath the hull. And then the water broke. A submarine, black as night, larger than anything she'd seen. No numbers, no flags, just silence and a presence that didn't belong. From the conning tower, a voice called out, Commander Malik, we've been expecting you. She didn't move at first, didn't speak. This wasn't protocol, this wasn't Navy. But this wasn't random either. Whoever sent her those coordinates knew. Knew something she didn't. Knew that she wasn't dismissed, she was extracted. If you'd like answers, the voice from the tower said, come aboard. Her fingers tightened on the rudder. Her jaw clenched. And then, slowly, she turned the boat toward the waiting monster. The steel of the USS Phantom groaned as its hatch opened, a silent invitation into the unknown. Lieutenant Commander Arya Malik climbed aboard. No salutes. No protocols. Just a quiet nod from the deck crew as they took her duffel. The man who had called her forward stood atop the conning tower. Weathered. Mid-50s. A captain's bars. But no name tag. Welcome aboard, Commander, he said. I'm Captain Grant Calder. Arya stood still, her voice level. This isn't in any naval registry, I know. A faint smile crossed his face. That's the point. The hatch sealed behind her. The world outside vanished. Arya descended into a submarine unlike any she'd ever imagined. No creaks, no rust. The Phantom was quiet, too quiet. Wider corridors, softer lights, and technology that didn't match anything she'd trained on. It was newer, sleeker, impossible. We built this from scratch, Calder said, leading her through the belly of the vessel. Outside doctrine, outside budgets, outside oversight. He opened a door. Inside, screens pulsed with sonar feeds and acoustic maps. More data than she'd ever seen in one place. This is where you come in. Arya recognized the screen's waveform. 3 months ago, she'd flagged it. A sonar anomaly near the Marianas Trench. Smooth, repeating, deliberate. Not natural. She'd reported it, then been told to delete it. To stop asking questions. That signal, Calder said, belongs to something we weren't supposed to detect. He tapped a console. A new map loaded. Dozens of signals like hers. They're not ours. Not Russian, not Chinese. Not anything officially recognized. So why me? She asked. Because you saw what others missed and you didn't look away. Have you ever had to walk away from something that didn't make sense? Because you were told to? Comment below if you've ever questioned what you were told to ignore. He introduced her to the crew. Each of them had vanished, just like she had. Disappeared from carriers, destroyers, sub-bases, with vague reassignments. Weapons experts. Data analysts. Sonar operators, engineers. Everyone here was chosen. Because we looked twice. Then from behind a console, Arya? She turned. It was Lieutenant Yara Seo, her roommate from Naval Academy. Disappeared 2 years ago. You were in Bahrain, Arya said. That's what the Navy thinks. Calder laid it out. This vessel is a ghost. Operates under NSC authority. No oversight. No politics, just purpose. We track what others can't. Things below the ocean that shouldn't be there. He showed her surveillance footage. Silent craft gliding along undersea fiber cables. Mapping, listening. Unmanned, stealth-driven, and they're evolving. Whose are they? She asked. Unknown. But they're not acting like recon. They're acting like they're planning something. They led her to a private sonar chamber, more advanced than any system she'd seen. Your algorithms picked up their signatures before anyone else. We want you to refine them, track their routes, predict their behavior. She stared at the system. Her hands instinctively moved across the console. This was her zone. Not paperwork, not exile, not silence, but impact. This isn't just about detection, Calder said. This is about intercepting before they strike. So they're a threat? We're already behind the curve. We're playing catch-up in a game we didn't know had started. Arya asked what would happen if she declined. We'll fly you to Pearl Harbor, Calder said. You'll sit behind a desk. Her name won't clear. Your promotion track? Over. And if I stay? You vanish. No calls home. No letters. No digital trace. Yara stepped in. I've been here 14 months. It's hard. But it matters. Arya walked to a small porthole. Outside, pure black ocean. Her name was already burned back on the USS Sentinel. But maybe. This was why. You said they're planning something, she said. Then let's not wait to find out what. That night, the Phantom began to dive. No fanfare, no horn, just depth and darkness. The systems hummed. Arya sat alone in the acoustic bay, scanning, listening. Then, faintly, something pinged. Faint, deep, familiar. Her hands froze. It was that signature. But closer, faster, heading west. Not probing, moving. Captain, she said over comms, we've got company. The USS Phantom moved silently beneath 800 feet of Pacific pressure. No surface contact. No comms, no signals. Just ocean, data, and tension. Arya Malik sat in the acoustic bay, eyes fixed on a ghost signature moving fast, too fast. Her voice cut into the Phantom's calm. Unknown contact. Bearing 210. Closing at 30 knots. Not following any known patrol pattern. Captain Calder didn't flinch. Silent running. Initiate intercept. The lights dimmed. The hum dropped. The chase was on. They followed the object for 27 minutes. It never pinged, never reacted. Arya enhanced the audio. The propulsion wasn't screw-based. No cavitation. Just a hum, too clean. Then abruptly, it stopped. At 900 feet below sea level, it just hovered. Why would it pause? Arya asked aloud. Maybe it heard us, Rivera murmured beside her. But then the contact vanished. Not retreated. Not destroyed. Gone. Later that night, Yara burst into Arya's lab. You need to see this. She dragged a signal file onto the shared system. It was the same frequency signature, but older. From 5 months ago near Diego Garcia. Recorded and suppressed. This wasn't just a detection anomaly. It's been tracking us. How far does this go? Arya whispered. Too far, Yara said, locking the door behind them. They ran a test. Arya adjusted the algorithm, accounting for unnatural signal dampening. It revealed 3 more contacts, surrounding them at over 2 miles distance. They're ghosting us, Calder said. Matching our depth. Our direction. Observing. They weren't hunting. They were studying. Captain Calder made the call. Change course. Dive deeper. Total blackout. Arya sat alone in her bunk later. No windows, no clocks. Just silent steel and the creaks of pressure. She reached for her locket. Inside, a picture of her father, once a Navy engineer. Her last message to him was 4 months ago. Dad, I'm headed into a project. Don't worry if I go quiet. I'm good, she had lied. And now, 900 feet below reality, the weight of her decision finally caught up. Next morning, the crew gathered in the ops room. Captain Calder didn't stand behind a podium. He stood among them. 3 objects. Not broadcasting. Not probing. Just watching. These aren't our enemies, he continued. They're someone else's experiment. Or surveillance. Or warning. And if we're right, they're not unmanned anymore. Silence. How do you know? Someone asked. Because one of them pinged back. Later, Arya found a sealed file in the system, time-stamped before her transfer. Encrypted with her old project signature. She unlocked it. Inside, a fragment of an acoustic message. Human voices. Filtered and warped. They're not machines. No permission to engage. Project Tempest active. She sat frozen. Her own project done from 2 years ago. Reclassified, buried, now possibly alive. By evening, Phantom's crew tracked the objects to a single underwater ridge. The 3 signals had converged. And stopped moving. Arya stared at the pattern. It wasn't random. It was triangulation. A perimeter. Captain, she said slowly, I think they're not watching us anymore. I think they're waiting. Calder ordered silence. Weapons were readied. Depth charges unlocked. And the Phantom held its breath.
The USS Phantom
Floated motionless above an undersea. Ridge cloaked in sediment and shadow. Sonar pulses had stopped. The 3 contacts hadn't moved in hours. Too quiet. Too still. And the deeper they scanned, the stranger it got. It's not just rock, Arya said, pointing to the 3D mapping screen. There's infrastructure down there. Pipes, angled walls, symmetry. This isn't natural. Calder stared at the map, arms folded. We weren't sent to fight shadows, but we're sitting on top of something no one's meant to see. He made the call. Prepare the drone. They launched a stealth ROV, remote-operated vehicle, from the dorsal bay. Silent, compact, armed with cameras and directional sonar. Stay at 1,000 feet. Stream all feeds live. No active ping unless necessary, Arya instructed. It slipped beneath the Phantom like a ghost, disappearing into black. The ROV dropped into the trench. Murk parted to reveal angles. Smooth metal. Seamless, like a sunken structure. Then went a hatch. Not barnacled, maintained. The crew fell silent. Is that a station? Rivera whispered. It's not ours, Arya said. Look, no weld line. That's not even steel. Then the drone feed cut to black. Not static. Not malfunction, just shut off. If you saw something the government clearly tried to hide, would you expose it or stay silent? Comment below, expose or silence, and why. Seconds after the ROV signal vanished, a sonar pulse echoed across the hull. Low, intentional. That's not an echo, Arya muttered. That's a response. Another pulse followed. Same frequency as the anomaly she'd flagged months ago. Then as a third signal, faster, closer. One of the contacts was rising. Silent running. All stations, Calder ordered. The contact wasn't drifting. It was ascending directly toward the Phantom. Speed? Calder barked. 40 knots. Impossible at this depth. No propulsion sound. Just vibration. Suddenly, the lights flickered. Systems blinked. Pressure sensors spiked. EMP burst? Rivera gasped. No, it's something else, Arya said. It's not disabling us. It's mapping us. Then everything stopped. The contact vanished again. That night, Arya reviewed sonar archives alone. She found a signal match 6 years ago. Same pattern. Same frequency. Logged by an Arctic sonar array during her first assignment. Buried under ice interference. They've been here longer than we thought, she whispered. And someone in command knew. Morale cracked. Some crew whispered about ghost fleets. Others feared this wasn't foreign, but something forgotten. Rivera confided to Arya in the galley. What if these aren't drones? What if they're ours? And we lost control? She didn't have an answer. This vessel was built off books, Rivera added. How many other projects died in silence? 48 hours later, another drone was launched. It reached the same depth, but this time the hatch on the structure was open. From inside, a pulsing light, like a heartbeat. No creatures. No machines. Just motion, smooth, layered, like breathing walls. That's biological, Arya said, breath catching. Not architecture. Not alien. Not ours. An encrypted message came in, or scrambled but clear. Phantom is to retreat immediately. Cease all scans. Destroy ROV logs. No further contact. Calder read it aloud, then tore it from the console. They knew this was here. And now they want it gone. The crew was stunned. We stay dark, he said, and we finish what we started. Arya stood in the acoustic bay. Lights low. Water groaning outside. A second hatch had opened on the sonar readout, farther down the ridge. Something's calling us, she whispered. Yara leaned in, or warning us. Outside, the Phantom began its slow descent once more. Toward the deep, toward answers, toward the end of protocol. The USS Phantom was silent, descending into black. Inside, Arya Malik held her breath, staring at sonar returns that no longer behaved like echoes. These weren't machines. They weren't manned vehicles. They weren't even built. They were grown. The drone breached the deepest chamber. What it revealed wasn't a base. It was a cradle, suspended in gel-like fluid, several long, armored structures, part biological, part alloy, shaped like submarines but not piloted, self-guided, self-aware. One moved toward the drone, not aggressively, curiously. Then it emitted a pulse, a language. Back aboard the Phantom, Arya's console flared. "It's syncing with us," she whispered, "matching our systems." Trying to understand. She saw it then, not through sonar, not through video, through thought. Memories, her team, the project, her father's voice in static. The entity wasn't attacking. It was mirroring, learning. And it had been doing so for years. Captain Calder called a silent meeting. "We're not supposed to be here. They told us to destroy the data. We've gone further than anyone before." Arya spoke softly. "It's not war. It's invitation. It's asking us to listen." They all stared at the screen. No one spoke. The ocean pulsed once more, not randomly. It was a signal, an address, a choice. Later in her bunk, Arya prepared her message. "If this recording survives, know this. The silence we heard wasn't absence. It was invitation." She paused, looked at her father's photo again. "They removed me without warning, without answers. And I followed the questions here. Maybe that was the point." At over 400 hours, the Phantom passed the threshold. Beyond sonar, beyond classified. No more contact was recorded. No orders received. No wreckage found. No lies confirmed. Just a deep echo beneath the Pacific that hasn't stopped since. And those who still remember her name only whisper it. If you believe stories like this matter, about truth hidden beneath orders, about the people who go where they're not supposed to, then you're one of us. Subscribe to Black and Wronged, where we honor the voices lost in silence and the questions they dared to ask. And tell us in the comments, from which city in the world are you watching this story? Until next time, keep listening.